Okay, this is the fourth and final of this series for this project, and we've done everything we could to give you just like a lot of meat in each one of them and make them really quick little segments so that you can eat up the content the way you want to, or watch them as a binge, or whatever you want to do. Okay, so we're gonna take our big pile of stencils that we have, and the final touch, I've kind of kept it a secret, is gonna be tea towel stripes, or ticking stripes, or whatever kind of stripes you want to call them. This is a trend like you have never seen before. When we went to Atlanta for market for a store that we own, they were everywhere on everything, and they're magic. I love them. So we made a tea towel stripe tool. Now what's weird about this is you can get a lot of movement between these really long pieces of plastic. So I'm going to show you how to manage that. All right, get some wax paper out to keep the mess from being messy. And I need to choose which one of these I want to use. So I have a good amount of white space. I could use the big ones. Don't want it to be too heavy. So what I love about this tool is that we've given you all the different kinds of configurations and sizes. These also were on feed sack in the day, so there's a really neat effect that you can create. You can go on both sides of a pillow, you can just do underneath, you can continue a line out from your lettering. There's like a million ways to use these things. I think I'm gonna stick with this, and I've already made it sticky, but I'm gonna show you how to make it sticky. You lay it down, and then I use this little, it's a repositionable adhesive that's on this little guy right here, and you just run it along, and I've already got it on there, but you just run it along all your pieces, and that makes it sticky, and it makes it so you can lift it up and move it around. All right, so that's sticky. Now we'll take our wax paper and get that away, and let me show you how to make some stripes. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to start with our stripes, and we're going to use the edge of the stripe as a T-square, if that makes sense. I'm going to run that stripe edge right up the edge of my board, using the whole board, as much of it as I can see, and then I'm going to press that down. A little bit of it coming out the other side, just rub that off. And I'm still going to go ahead and use my tape so that I can not have things, the whole stencil shifting. And I'll just, when you don't have another edge to tape, what you can do is just tape right across some holes in your stencil, and that'll hold it just as well, and that's nice and secure. We're gonna go with our cream. Ooh, this is very interesting. Okay, we're gonna do a blue stripe in the middle, and we're gonna do cream on the either side. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do everybody in cream, and then I'm going to do the blue stripe by itself, and I'll show you how that will work out. So welcome to our YouTube channel, and wherever you're catching us on social media and all the places. I'm Patty, and I'm with StudioR12 Stencils, and that is where you can find more than 6,000 titles of stencils. And the YouTube channel is where you can subscribe and ring the bell and get all the education about stenciling and DIY crafting. All right, so I'm just going to go right along in the direction of the cut lines, and I'll kind of just anchor it. They're stuck, but they're not. This is a lightweight adhesive, so I just want to kind of give it a little support as I go across my lines. Okay, when we get to the end, we don't want to make this line be a line because it's really hard to blend. So, and every now and again you'll get loose hairs on these brushes. They are worth every loose hair they ever shed because they are magic and they keep all the unbleeding from, all the bleeding under from happening. Okay, so in this series we've done, each of these has been a different technique. So we did stenciling through stuff, we did sponging, and we did drop shadow with stencils. So you want to make sure to go and catch those lessons. Okay, we'll make that be a thing. Now I'm going to peek underneath my stencil. Okay, so that's nice and crisp and pretty. I almost wonder if I don't want that. Probably having another touch of blue is probably a good idea. So I'm making design choices on the fly here. Now we'll go and then I'll line up the other side of the board and the part that I've already stenciled. And then run that along to the edge. And then take a little peeky poo. Golly, 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 golly. We're gonna do it blue. Okay, so go back to the beginning, line your stencil up one more time. Okay, we have a couple choices here. We can take tape and run it along both of those stripes and then just do the middle. That honestly would probably be the easiest. The MultiMasker is the second winner chicken dinner. And I like using the big brushes because they go far and fast. So that's my preference. And then let's talk about mixing paint. So when you have your two colors of paint, I've got like a navy blue and I've got a medium gray color just to tone the blue. If you are working on your project and you're mixing a color, you might want to get a couple of these little paint savers. So you can take your mixed color of paint and you can put a little paper label on there and label it, or a tape label. And then that is what you can save your mixed paint if you're worried about matching it exactly. And then the other thing that you can do is you can make a note on a sticky, put it on your project, and when you sit back down, you can be like 50-50, those two colors. So that's a couple ways that you can handle that. And we carry these on our website, which is StudioR12.com, along with 6,000 titles of stencils. So lots of titles, lots of choices. Okay, so 50-50 mix of my paint. I'm gonna go into my blue. I'm gonna use the MultiMasker, if I can pick it up, right on that thin line. Oh, I'm gonna need two. We're double masking today. Okay, so I'll get both sides of that done. And then just stipple on the blue. And next, I'm going to show you how to finish your project. That is such an important thing to know how to do. It just really does depend on where you're going to put your project. But let's do the unveiling. Dun, 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 dun. Fabulous. I'm glad I put the blue on there. I really like it. Okay, I'm going to let that dry for a hot second, and then I'm going to wipe off. There's little bits of debris fluff from my paint. Let's talk about painting and finishing. So your paint is acrylic. You're going to want to finish it depending on where it's going to go, how long you want it to last, what its function is going to be. If you were just going to hang this in your family room, you know, for your 4th of July fireplace mantle display, or put it, you know, someplace protected, a simple coat of matte varnish would be fine, or no coat of anything. I have a lot of signs in my house that don't have anything on them. However, if you were going to put this outside or someplace where it was going to get weather, then you're going to want to give it more protection. Okay, so a couple of coats of your varnish, and then I always do both sides. Now you can paint another sign on the back side of your project and make it something that you can turn around. You could drill some holes, hang it by a rope, and then turn it around for your season. So you could have Easter on the other side and then bring out your 4th of July next. So there's a lot of options that you can do, but I want to show you how you varnish and what I use. Deco Art's DuraClear Matte Varnish. I've used this product for years and years. I am a Deco Art helping artist, so I can say that, so you know that they send me product to use. They do not pay me, but if you want to send them a strongly worded letter and encourage that, that'd be fine by me. But anyway, but I do love their products. A die-hard Deco Art fan for a long, long, long time. Okay, and then we'll pour out some of our varnish. So we're going to use a dry foam brush, and this is a poly foam, and there is a video. It's got the cutest little thumbnail that shows like foam brushes duking it out, like boxing, and that is on our YouTube channel, and we will link that. It is an amazing difference. You want to buy a handful of them, so you always have them. They are the best little tool, and they're super affordable, cheap. Okay, and we just load our paint in there. And then I'm just going to go ahead and move fairly quickly. And when I get to the end, I want to sweep off of the end and lift, and it's almost like a little bit of a round movement. But as your varnish dries, it'll drag, okay? And you don't want dragging, so you need to move quickly. You can also use a roller. Roller kind of wastes a lot of medium, but you don't get the drag marks. And you do several coats of that. You guys, I hope that you enjoyed the lesson, and please check out some of our other videos. We'll see you next time.